Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibis. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Episode 2 today. Got a double dose coming your way. First, I released the third part of the Ellen Greenberg deep dive that I've been doing. There's a big push to get this case reopened and reinvestigated because it stinks of a cover up, to say the least. If you haven't started that series yet, go back to episode 1. It'll blow your mind, y'all. Insanity. So, music fact of the day. One of my favorite series ever on TV, probably in my top 5, would be The Wonder Years. My first will always be I Love Lucy. It's just my favorite. I grew up with that. But The Wonder Years was amazing. The storytelling was great. It was relatable and it had good music. Almost 300 songs they used over the course of their 115 episodes. They used a lot of really famous songs, really popular songs, but that's also the reason that it took until 2014 to have the complete series put on DVD due to music licensing issues. Ultimately, Time Life paid reportedly 7 figures to clear most of the songs, not all, just a small handful of songs were not put in the DVD release that were originally on the show. There you go. Now you know. I actually need to add some of those songs to my Spotify playlist, which, by the way, you can go follow. It's under Pretty Lies and Alibis, Gigi's playlist. A lot of my favorite songs on there, and I have some followers and some good conversations with people about music. We are going to do some case updates. I just want to stay current with the cases that we're following while I'm doing these deep dives. And I get really hyper-focused when I'm doing a deep dive on the documents. And when you're coming into a case that's over a decade old, you have a lot of catching up to do. And I really did not think it would take this much research, but trying to understand some of the symptoms that Ellen would have been experiencing, just really reading into medical things and working with some graphics as well. I'm trying to add more graphics to my YouTube videos, which is a lot more time consuming. But anyways, let's jump into what we're doing. First and foremost, some really good news. After 1,485 days since sweet little JJ Vallow was murdered, Judge Boyce has ordered that his body be released to his next of kin. Last night, Kay Woodcock texted me a statement. The last several years have been filled with pain and grief as we traveled this long, arduous road. We have waited and prayed for this day for so long, and we are immeasurably relieved that JJ will finally be laid to rest. We have spent the past days immersed in the memories of the love and happiness that JJ shined and continues to shine on our lives. As we reminisce in the joy that JJ filled our life with, our hearts ache for those that love JJ and share in the immense grief and loss of such a beautiful little man. We are grateful for the love and support of everyone that has come to love JJ, Tylee, and Charles. As we continue to fight for justice, the dedication and strength given has helped to carry us through. We are anxious to find out when Tylee too can be laid to rest. Our greatest wish is for JJ and Tylee to be celebrated for the joy and love they brought to this world and for them to finally rest in peace. Only then will our hearts begin to heal. Memorial services will be announced at a later date. Larry and Kay Woodcock. Very relieved to hear that for the families. You know, it's sad that we have to even talk about laying any of these people to rest. None of this should have happened, but obviously is going to give some peace to their hearts once they can give JJ the burial he deserves. So thinking of them, because I know it's very bittersweet at the time too, but a relief nonetheless. Moving on to old Alec Murdaugh. I did not watch the movie, y'all. There was a movie that came on this weekend. I haven't watched it. Literally just trying to keep this puppy from like chewing on wires and electrocuting itself. So I have not watched it. I might get around to it. We'll see. I've been on a Forensic Files kick. Found some I haven't seen. Shocker. Because I've seen just about everyone. So I've been binging that at night. The South Carolina Supreme Court has granted his request to put the brakes on the appeal of his conviction while his team is seeking a new trial with the allegations of jury tampering. The issue, they kind of just kicked it back down to circuit court to allow Alec to file that new motion for a new trial. His attorneys, Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, told the Daily Mail that recent ruling to stay the appeal and remand the case for a hearing on Murdaugh's motion for a new trial is welcomed news. We intend to proceed and will seek a full-blown evidentiary hearing addressing the serious allegations pertaining to improper jury communications by the clerk of court. Keep you posted. If he has an evidentiary hearing, your girl's going to Walterboro. Moving on to Joran Sloot, just a disgusting human being. He is expected to take a plea deal in the extortion charges in which he promised to lead the family of Natalee Holloway to her body in exchange for $250,000 back in 2010. Just a reminder, Natalee was 18 when she went missing in Aruba in 2005 while on a trip with some school friends. She was last seen leaving a bar with Joran. He was detained as a suspect a few weeks later, along with two others, but eventually was released. Her body has never been found, and the judge declared her deceased a few years ago. He was extradited from Peru to the United States back in June of this year. In Peru, he was serving a 28-year sentence for the murder of Stephanie Flores, which happened back in 2010. Ironically and oddly enough, Stephanie Flores was murdered 5 years to the day that Natalee went missing. He admitted that he killed Stephanie and he pled guilty in 2012. Peru and the United States have an extradition treaty that allows a suspect to be temporarily extradited to face trial. The Holloway's attorney said on Sunday that the plea agreement was conditioned upon Mr. Sloot revealing details of how Natalee died and where her body was disposed of. Let's hope that that happens to give this family the closure they need, because this guy is just a psychopath killer. And I'm sure he's very happy to be serving his time in a federal prison here in the States as opposed to a prison in Peru. He got his tail whipped not too long before he was extradited here. So moving on to Kaitlin Armstrong. I don't know if you guys saw, if you don't have social media, I took the escape video and added some Benny Hinn music because that just makes every video better. And I know it's not funny what she did, obviously, but this girl's desperate to just get away from the consequences of her alleged actions. She is set to face trial on October 30th for the murder of Mo Wilson, who was a friend of her husband's. He briefly had a little romantic relationship with when he and Kaitlin were broken up. Mo and Colin both are professional cyclists, and he had met up with Mo the day she was murdered just to give her some advice on sponsorships. Just a friend thing, not a date. Kaitlin Armstrong allegedly, in a very, very jealous rage, shot and killed Mo Wilson in the house she was staying at with a friend. Mo had flown to Texas earlier that week to prepare for a race. Kaitlin was detained on an unrelated charge of skipping out on a Botox bill, but after being released, as we know, she fled to Costa Rica, had a facelift, and avoided capture for over a month. Now, as we know, Kaitlin made a run for it last week after allegedly faking a leg injury to get her out of the jail and to a doctor's office off-site. She requested they not use leg restraints due to this injury. She now has a second-degree felony charge of escape causing bodily injury. It's also been revealed that she may have channeled her inner G.I. Jane and exercised vigorously for months before attempting the escape. She was seen regularly doing squats, doing yoga, running. Now, Kaitlin freed her left hand by possibly using a piece of broken metal or dental floss, both of which were found in her cell after she tried to run. Moving on to Josh Duggar, who, as we know, last year was convicted and sentenced to 12 years in prison for receiving and possessing child abuse materials. He's been denied his appeal on his conviction. The appeal was filed with his attorney saying the statements that Josh made to federal agents as the search warrant was being executed on the car lot where that computer was found that contained the child abuse materials, they said that it should not have been admissible because he did not have an attorney present with him at the time. They also said his phone had been seized as he was trying to get in touch with an attorney. Now, since that appeal was denied, he will serve his original 12.5-year sentence and is scheduled to be released on October 2nd, 2032, which is a little bit later than his original sentence because he was caught with a contraband cell phone. The appeals panel said that Josh was notified he was not in custody and could leave at any time, which he ultimately did. That's all. Bye-bye, Josh. You got time, buddy. All right, that's it. See you soon.